Hello, I'm Matt Riggs. I'm the outreach coordinator for the Mark Solid Waste Management District, and I'd like to take a few minutes of your time to talk about food loss and waste. Food loss and waste hurts all of us. It has an enormous negative impact on our community, the economy, and our environment. And that's why I'm here to ask for your help to solve this problem. Because what you do as an organization and as an individual truly makes a difference. So how big is this problem? Well, let's start with sheer quantity. More than 30% of all food in the United States is wasted. That's enough to fill the Rose Bowl every day. That's 365 days a year, every year. Where is all this wasted food coming from? Well, a majority of it, about 39%, is coming from residential households. And that number increases to about 50% in Missouri and 56% in Kansas. The next biggest category is farm produce, which basically translates to fruits and vegetables. Now, this doesn't really apply to Missouri and Kansas since we're primarily crop producing states. Next is food service, which includes any place that prepares meals outside the home. So we're talking restaurants, school and hospital cafeterias, catering operations, etc. This number goes from 20% at the national level to 30% in Missouri and Kansas. Then at the lowest levels comes retail, such as grocery stores and manufacturers such as baked goods companies. So where is all this food going? Nationally, more than half of all this food waste goes to a landfill. The rest is either incinerated, goes down the drain, or is simply left in the field to rot. U.S. households waste nearly 1/3 of the food they buy every year. The annual cost of food waste for an individual U.S. household is $1,866. Wasted food in the United States consumes 140 million acres of agricultural land annually. That's an area the size of California and New York combined. In the U.S., wasted food uses up 778 million pounds of pesticides and 14 billion pounds of fertilizer every year. And resources lost to food waste equal the annual water and energy usage of 50 million U.S. homes. Every year, wasted food generates greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to 42 coal-fired power plants. And all this, while in 2020, 10.5% of U.S. households were food insecure. This means that food insecure households, those are those with low and very low food security, had difficulty at some time during the year providing enough food for all their members because of a lack of resources. So what can we do? How can I, you, and the organizations and businesses we work for truly move the needle on this seemingly overwhelming problem? Well, it's important to understand that we're not starting from scratch and we're not alone. The EPA, among many other organizations around the country and world, has been hard at work tackling food loss and waste for many years. The EPA food recovery hierarchy, pictured here, prioritizes actions organizations can take to prevent and divert wasted food. Each tier of the hierarchy focuses on different management strategies. The top levels of the hierarchy are the best ways to prevent and divert wasted food because they create the most benefits for the environment, society, and the economy. So here's where the rubber meets the road. On September 30th, 2021, the EPA officially awarded the Mid-America Regional Council a Sustainable Materials Management Grant for $175,000 to address food loss and waste. It's a 2-year grant with the goal of reducing the amount of food that is wasted and sent to landfills in the Kansas City metro area. For those of you unfamiliar with MARC, MARC is a nonprofit association of city and county governments and the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the 9-county bi-state Kansas City region. MARC provides a forum for the region to work cooperatively to advance social, economic, and environmental progress. The grant project is being guided by a project advisory committee made up of the 21 organizations you see here. They include cities and counties, food policy groups, producers, processors, distributors, commercial and institutional buyers, the organics management industry, and food recovery groups. The grant takes a holistic field to fork or cradle to consumer approach by addressing food waste wherever it is created along the food supply chain. At each link in the chain, it will consider the following strategies: food waste prevention, rescue, and composting. The project has 3 goals: develop a food waste action plan, develop a web-based food system map, and develop and implement a food waste education campaign. The plan is anticipated to address the following. It will describe the existing conditions of food loss and waste prevention, food waste rescue, and food scrap recycling in the community. It will establish short-term and long-term targets to reduce the amount of food going to waste and develop a plan for ongoing measurement. It will recommend policy and program actions that have the greatest potential to have a positive impact on food loss and waste reduction in the region, and it will ensure that the diverse cultural, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds of the region's residents are represented in its development and implementation of food waste reduction strategies. The project will also develop a website to facilitate food loss and waste reduction among organizations, stakeholders, and community members. It will do this through 3 major components: a directory, mapping system, and a communication platform. A few examples of how this website might be used include, let's say a corporate event has a lot of catered food left over and needs to find the nearest food pantry to donate it before it spoils. Or a high school student needs service hours and wants to find the nearest food bank that offers volunteer opportunities. Perhaps an elected official wants to understand how the food waste issue is being dealt with in the Kansas City metro area. Or maybe there's a wholesaler that needs to find a new food bank to donate its surplus products to. This site will provide the information and resources needed by each of these users and many others. And last but not least, the project will develop a strategic education plan, which will raise awareness about food waste, provide food waste reduction information, and drive users to our website. It will be similar to Natural Resources Defense Council's Save the Food campaign, pictured here, that encourages Americans to save the food by showcasing the life cycle of food and the loss of resources when it goes unconsumed. And this is where we need your voice at the table. We're inviting you to our Food Waste Workshop series starting March 30th. The goal of this Food Loss and Waste Workshop series is to develop strategic action steps necessary to move the Kansas City region forward on food loss and waste reduction. These action steps will form the core of the Regional Food Waste Action Plan, which we'll be putting together over the summer and fall of 2022. At the workshops, you will be able to provide input on the Food Waste Action Plan, network with other stakeholders, and learn about other ways to get involved and continue to support food loss and waste reduction in our region. So who should be there? If you represent one of these entities, we definitely want you at the table. Or if you know people who represent one of these entities, we want them at the table too. So if you or someone you know would like to attend, please contact me and I'll send you the digital invitation where you can sign up. Thank you for helping to reduce food loss and waste in the Kansas City region.